All right, guys, it looks like I'm finally up. Sorry, I was having some major problems getting connected today, so I was only able to come up on YouTube. Facebook was an epic fail. So anyway, welcome, welcome. So glad you guys are here tonight. I'm going to go over my housekeeping really quick, and then we're going to get started tonight. So for those of you that are planning on placing any orders with me, please do that using that hostess code. If your purchase is less than $150, you can order through me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. There should be a link in the comments or in the description. And then make sure you check out my blog at juliescreativestamping.com. Don't forget, guys, right now, celebration, we only have, 9 more days left of celebration. For those of you that aren't aware of celebration, it's where you can purchase, if you purchase $60 or more, you will get free items. And yay, yeah, found you, Shanine. I found you. I was having a hard time getting on tonight. Also, for any of you that have ever thought about joining Stampin' Up, during celebration is the absolute best time. We have an unbelievable deal going on. For $99, you can get $155 worth of products. Or there's a second option that you can have. So reach out to me if you think that is something that you're interested in. But again, you have 9 days left to take advantage of that join and also of the free items with celebration. So let's look at what we're going to be working with tonight. So this is one of the new bundles that's in the mini catalog. It's called Memorial Blooms. And as you can see, it's got some really nice dies with it. But kind of what I wanted to show you guys tonight, because I hear this all the time. You know, can we make pretty cards if we just stamp? Yes. Can we make pretty cards if we don't like to put a lot of stuff on it? Yes. And then can we layer? Of course. So tonight I decided that we're going to do layering, masking, and mirroring. I'm going to show you 3 different techniques tonight with this bundle that I think you're going to love. Let me just put the bundle up so that you can see that. It's called the Memorial Blooms Bundle. There's the item number and the price of that. Also, don't forget the card kits that I am showing you tonight. The class is free. You can follow along with me free and use, all of your own stuff. I highly encourage that. But if you decide that you either want this set or you have other products that you're wanting to place, if you place a $40 or more order, I will send you all of the card kits. Now I can't stamp them, but I can send you all of the kits and anything that I die cut. So let's get started. Okay. So card number 1 is going to be a simple card, but we are using layers. So I'm going to bring in all the layers. And we are going to be coloring on this one. The other ones I colored ahead of time so that it wouldn't take a ton of time to do. And so I'll explain this in a second, but this is what we're going to do tonight. So what you need is you're going to need a card base that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. You are going to need a 2 balmy blue pieces that are 4 by 5 1/4. You're going to need 2 basic white pieces that are 3 3/4 by 5. You are going to need a balmy blue piece that is 3 by 4. You're going to need a basic white piece that is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then you're going to need some scraps of white. I think you don't need this one, you just need these 2. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with the stamping. And what I wanted to show you with this is a lot of times to get dimension, or let's say we have, so for instance, I have this stamp right here that I want to use. Sorry, I've got to grab another one. And I have this stamp right here that I want to use. Now with die cutting, it makes it easier to stamp this on here, then stamp this on another piece of paper, have die cut that out and pop it on top of it. I'm going to show you a method that we have with our masking paper that helps us to do this without having to like do a bunch of die cutting. This is our masking paper, and what you do is, and you can see where I cut it out right here, what you do is you stamp this onto the masking paper, and then I cut it out with a die, but you don't have to have a die. You can also fussy cut it out like this. And then let me show you why you would want to do this. So we're going to come in. Now you can do this with Post-it notes and stuff, but with this particular technique, I highly suggest that you do it with the masking paper because we are going to be stamping right over this. And the way that it works the best is with that masking paper. Let me just get my chamois open over here so I can clean these as I go. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear the backing off of this masking paper like so. And then and the reason I cut it so close is because I want this to lay exactly over this image that I have stamped. And you do have to kind of adjust, hold on. You do have to adjust the leaves a little bit. But once you get them in place, they'll stick down. Okay, so I mean, it looks like I've just stamped that, but I'm just laying that over the top. Then what that allows me to do is to come in with another stamp and stamp right over the top of this. And then I'm going to bring it in again, and it looks like a hot mess right now, but just hold on. You're going to see the magic in just a second. And then I want to bring this one in, and I want to bring it in down there. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this off. And then I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to, I probably need my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm just going to pick up this mask. And if you pick it up carefully enough, you can reuse it. But I'm trying to go fast tonight so I can get all 3 cards in. So I'm probably going to end up tearing this. I'm trying to be somewhat careful. You know what? I think actually this is going to be a good time to use that spatula side. Because then it can kind of get up underneath there and help pull this up. Oh, I lost my leaves, so I would have to make another one of these. I mean, I wouldn't have to actually have to. I could keep all these little pieces and then piece it back together. All right, so now what this did, if you will notice, now what it did is it allowed me to have my original image, but then it put those leaves behind it. And so now we're going to color, and we're going to show you how that works together. And so I wanted to do, and I'm also going to show you like using 2 different blues. So I'm going to be using Balmy Blue, and I'm going to be using Azure Afternoon. I wanted the light one, but I couldn't find the light one, so we're going with the dark. So I'm just going to color in with my dark, and then I'm just going to kind of color around the edges that I think would naturally possibly be dark. So we're going to color 1 flower at a time. Let me bring you in on this so you guys can see this a little bit better. So hopefully I'm still live with you guys. I had so much trouble getting on tonight. I had to put a message over in my Facebook group that I couldn't get it to connect to that tonight. I can usually multi-stream between the 2, and for some reason it just wasn't liking me doing that tonight. Okay, so can you see how you can like put 2 different colors together and make them blend and look really nice and pretty together? And I think I actually want to bring in a little bit more of this azure here. Maybe fill in like these areas here. Okay, and then we'll leave it looking like that. And then for the other flower, I want to do the Daffodil Delight, and this I am using like the same color, Daffodil Delight and Daffodil Delight. And so I'm going to come in and I'm just going to add some dark here. And then we're going to come in with the light and just fill in this flower, because I kind of wanted to do like, you know, 2 different colors here. And we are having to watch me color tonight, at least on this one. Okay, and then I wanted to do Granny Apple Green for some of this. And then what I wanted to do is I brought in this light Mossy Meadow to kind of accent like the ferns, the ones that look like ferns. And so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to color in like the ferns. And you can see these ferns coming out underneath. This was the second stamp, but because I had that first stamp masked, all of those pretty leaves around the flower are still there. But it also allowed these other leaves to come in, and it basically looks like this is it was just one stamp that I used. But this is a good way when you do that masking technique. It's a good way to add like 2 of your stamps together that you're kind of wanting to make a bigger image. But it allows you to keep the integrity of each of those stamps when you do this. And what I mean integrity, like you can clearly see both of the different stamped patterns. Okay, so there's the light Mossy Meadow. Oops, looks like I forgot to color this in right here. And then we're going to do the rest with light and dark Granny Apple Green. And this shouldn't take too long, and then we're going to be able to put this card together. Okay, let me just do, I think I'm going to just do like these solid, in these little leaves, they've got like a solid side and then a darker side, or like a veined side. So I'm doing the darker, and of course the dark is going to also be right there. Okay, and then now all I have to do is come in with my light Granny Apple Green. So if you guys have any questions on anything I'm showing you tonight, because I am showing you 3 different techniques tonight. Where this one was the masking, and we're doing layering. This one has both, well, all of them have layering, but I'm going to show you different levels of layering. This one I would call more simple layering on this card. And then you're going to see how, you know, the other card is going to have like a few more layers. So I'm basically just coming in and we're just coloring in the flowers. But I hope you guys got the, got the gist of how to use that, the paper mask that we have. Now, let's say you're like me and you're not really liking that this dark line right here is a little bit light. And so you can come in with our Stampin' Right markers and just real lightly, just barely touch it. And you can bring in to where that's darker, and you can actually bring it in kind of all the way in. So I'm just going to kind of add, there you go. But that's the way that if you did get part of that image didn't stamp evenly, then you can do that. Now, how pretty is that flower? Yeah, these are pretty flat, pretty colors together, aren't they? Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to bring, let's see how good I am at stamping tonight. I've probably jinxed myself because this one is really hard because it's not a photopolymer stamp, it is a cling stamp, and I am going to try to stamp that onto this little tiny piece. If it doesn't happen, I have a bigger piece to work with that I can cut down. If all else fails, go bigger and cut it down. So that's my motto. All right, so let's see if I could do this. Oh, this is going to be hard. Do you see what I'm talking about? It's really hard to kind of figure out where that paper is and if I have it centered. Okay, see, I'm not thrilled with that. So my solution, and I wanted to show you this just so you guys don't get discouraged. So then my solution is, if it's not a photopolymer, you probably want to start with a bigger piece. Oh, let me bring you guys back out. We probably want to start with a bigger piece because then we can just bring in our cutter and cut this down to the size that we need. That's a lot easier solution, and then lot less stress for you guys and me. That was a little stressful for me, got to admit. So I am going to try to get it in this bottom corner just to make my cutting easier. But I did want to show you guys, you know, that is the difference between cling and photopolymer. Photopolymer, really easy to see through. And cling, not so much. Okay, so I want this to be a 1/2 inch. So we're going to cut this down to the 1/2 inch. And then I think it was by 2, if I remember correctly. And then we're going to cut it down to the 2. So that is the solution. Because photopolymer, we probably could have got it on there straight, but cling, not so much. All right. Then all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to layer. Remember, this is layering and masking. So now we're going to start our layering. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue for this little piece here. And again, because I'm only leaving like a slight edge, I like to use the liquid glue because it allows me to adjust it so it looks even to me. All right, so there's that. And then the rest of this is going to pretty much be, I should have done the inside, but I'll show you the finished card inside so that we don't have to do that. But just remember, guys, if you're stamping with me and you have this set and you're wanting to do this layering and then come back and rewind this and watch the video. So the way we're laying it is we're going to start with a 4 by 5 1/4 of the Balmy Blue. Because you know what, I think sometimes we forget, we get so caught up in all of our die sets and everything else that we're always wanting to, which we're fixing to do on the next 2 cards. But I just wanted to show you what a beautiful card you can make by simply layering, just layering cardstock. I'm not even using designer series paper in this one. It is just cardstock and stamping. And I think we need to go back to that at times because we forget. Hopefully I'm still recording. I'm not trusting my internet too much tonight because it was like cray-cray trying to get on here tonight. Okay, so we had the 4 by 5 1/4. We got the 3 3/4 by 5. Then we're going to come in with that 3 by 4 Balmy Blue. And I'm going to try to get this centered the best that I can. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Then we're going to bring in this really pretty piece that we just colored. You know, like I said, I think it's good to not underestimate the value of stamping and layering. Some people have a really hard time with just like stamping and putting just one layer. So if you're trying to do some more simple cards and you do have problems with that whole, like just stamping on a white card base, and you just can't leave it, do some layering for a while. And then once you get used to this like cleaner look, it'll be easier for you to design. And then we're going to come in with this Love and Thanks, and it's going to go down here. Not to mention, this is a beautiful set. I love the flowers on this one. And I want to leave a little edge, a little white edge there. So we're going to bring that in there. And then I'll show you the inside, but the inside, you would stamp a flower here, put your sentiment, and then again, you're going to mat and put this on the inside. But this is what the inside ends up looking like once you color it and stamp it. And then on the front, the only thing that we have to add, if you want to, you could leave it just like this, but I wanted to bring in, this is for those of you that are already Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. This is another reason why joining is a good idea, because you get in on the pre-orders. These are the new neutral matte dots, and I really like them because they're a lot flatter than our normal dots, and they're really easy to work with. And so I kind of wanted to show these off a little bit. These won't be available until March for customers, but then for if you're a demonstrator and part of my team, then you can order these now. And so we're just going to pick those up and stick those on like that. Okay, so that is card 1. And all we did was we did use the masking technique so that we could make these 2 stamps look like one stamp. Okay, that's this. And then I just layered with cardstock. And I think it came out pretty. Hopefully you guys think this is pretty, but it's a nice simple card, and it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And so the Love and Thanks, and then of course the inside is this right there. All right, card 1 done. Anybody have any comments or questions about card 1? I know I'm a little bit ahead of you guys, so sometimes I have to wait for a response. All right, card 2 is, we're going to do our mirroring. Yeah, say that 3 times really fast. We're going to do the mirroring technique. We are also going to be coloring in a little bit. And what you need for this one is, and I've cut some of the pieces already. So you basically need, I did a, oh, thank you, Randy. I did a soft sea foam card base for this one. And then you're going to need a 4 by 5 1/4 basic white piece. You're going to need a scrap of Highland Heather. And then, like several scraps, or you could do a big one. You could do like a 2 by 5, but I had a bunch of scraps, so I'm using the scraps for this one. So you're going to need several white scraps, or you could do most of this on a 2 by 5 basic white piece. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut out our dies. This one has some really beautiful dies, and so we're going to be working with these 2 dies together for the look that I'm looking for. And so I'm actually going to set it up over here, and then we're going to take it to the die cut machine and cut it out there. So Shanine, you know what? There's not a lot to do with the practicing on the masking, as long as, because we have that masking paper. So if you stamp it on, if you stamp that on the masking paper, and then you just cut around the image that you stamped, or you can cut, if you have the die cuts, you can die cut the mask out, and then you just lay that mask on top of it. That's our paper is the easiest way to do this. I have done masking, and you can do masking with Post-it notes. You can do it with this stuff here. I have just found it easier to stamp it, and then like for what the the method that I just showed you, I have found that it's much easier to do it that way, because then you know that you have covered your original stamp really well. Okay, so I'm going to position this so that it like centers where it's supposed to, and then it kind of stays where it's supposed to. Okay, so this is the, here's my score line. So I have this on, this is going to be my front panel, and then we're going to move over to the die cut machine, and we are going to run this through the die cut machine. All right. So we've got that run through the die cut machine. And I'm going to carefully bring it back over here so you can see it when it pulls apart, because we're going to be using both pieces. So we're going to carefully remove this. Now, one of the reasons why I like these Post-it note better than washi tape, I have a lot of washi tape, and a lot of the people that come to my class will tell you that I use washi tape to tape this down. But if you get a really good piece of washi tape, it's gonna stick to it. So now, how pretty is that? Oh, sorry guys, I got to remember to bring you back. So basically I just kind of took this off, but see how pretty this is? I wanted this part on the card. So I wanted, oh, let's see if I can you see the little detail? So I wanted this on the front of my card. And so I'm just going to put that down. And then, so this can go back because I don't need that. That's what cut this out and left this pretty piece here. And then this is going to be that really pretty detailed flower. And so I'm just going to bring in my take your pick tool. Oh, got to switch it to the other side. Whoopsie. All right, and then basically now I've just got to take the time to poke all of this stuff out, which can kind of be tedious sometimes, but it's way worth the effort. And usually I'll run it through twice. I'm kind of trying to do this fairly fast tonight, just so you guys aren't on here forever with me, because I know everybody's time is precious. So I do try to get these made quickly for you guys. But how pretty is this die? It's so detailed and it's so pretty. All right, so we're almost there. We just got to get all these little tiny pieces out. Like I said, usually if I run this through twice, those pop right out. Okay, so now we have this piece as well. So let me get all of this out of the way. We're going to get some of this card put together because I want you guys to see. I want to take a little bit more time on the mirror imaging. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stamp. I think it's the "You Are Awesome" on the inside of this card. With black Memento ink. Okay, so we've got that stamped. Then this is going to go on the inside of the card. So I'm just using my Stampin' Seal Plus. We call those tape runners. And this is just going to sit on the inside of the card here. Now, I will tell you that with this design, you're not going to have a ton of room to write a message, but it's just going to be a really unique look. Then what I want to do is, again, trying to make this, we're trying to burnish this side to make it lay down. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with one of my silicone mats. And I'm going to turn this over. And I didn't use my adhesive sheets on this because I don't know why. I probably could have and it would have looked great, but I didn't. So, you know, sometimes I make my life harder than it needs to be. But you definitely could have used our adhesive sheets for the back side of this. And then I'm just putting little dots, if you can tell, just at kind of strategic points so that I know that this is gonna like lay how I want it. Then we're gonna move this one. We're gonna bring this in. We are gonna close the front and get this lined back up with that die. And you kind of want this to lay down so that you can get this to fit right back in there. But what that does is then it sticks to the inside of the card, and you're going to have this really cool looking card. When you open it, that's going to be on the inside. So isn't that a cool little way of doing it? Now, I did already stamp and color. This time I used Highland Heather with these flowers. And I did stamp and color these already because, I want to spend some time on this mirroring technique. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these. So again, like I said, guys, if I'm giving you the dimensions and if you decide that you want to make this card later, you can. And I'm just trying to decide where I want this to lay. I'm doing it partially to help hold the parts that stuck up. Then all you have to do is, you know, cut your pieces, color your pieces, and then rewind this and watch it later. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do, I do this every time. I didn't want glue there. I'll show you the trick for that. Actually, it's going to be okay, but because that's going to kind of lay over the edge there. And then this one is going to go this way. And it's okay if I put the glue there. I'm actually going to put this underneath this just to keep this safe for a second. You'll understand why in a minute. And then this is going to lay right here. And I do want them to kind of come into the frame. Okay, so that's that part. Well, when I opened this, I decided I didn't like the way that this looked. And then I went ahead and cut some and did them, and then realized I've got to have the opposite image to make it fit on this back side. So now we're going to show you. Now, you can do this without the Stamparatus. I will show you that real as soon as I get this part done. But because I have a Stamparatus, I'm going to use it. Also, if you have a Misty platform, it'll work with that as well. So I'm just going to put this up in this corner. And I'll show you right after this how to do it without. Okay, what is going on? Am I still too close in? There we go. Okay, so I have my stamp here. Now what I need to do is I need to bring in one of my silicone mats. And I'm going to ink this up. All right, and then I am going to ink it onto, I got to make sure my silicone mat is up in that corner. I'm going to stamp that onto my silicone mat. This is called mirror stamping. Then I'm going to pick that up, and you have to be really, once you get this white piece down, don't move it. Oh, that moved, so I hope that's okay. Shoot. Okay, so that's going to go down, and then I'm just going to stamp it again. And then what it does is it picks that image up off the back of that. And now I'm trying to see if it lined up good. I think it did. Okay. So I'm going to take a pencil so that I know this is the side I want to color. Okay. So now let's do that one more time because I need 2 of these. So we're going to ink this up. We are going to stamp it onto the silicone mat. We're going to lay that white piece down and then not move it, and then we're going to stamp again. And you don't have to re-ink because this side is basically just going to help you with the die cutting. But I do need to mark this side so I know this is the side I'm coloring. Okay, so that is mirror stamping. Because what we just did was we made the reverse image of that flower. So now let's color this in really quick. You guys get to see me color a lot tonight. So I'm just going to use that same little method, and that's why you put the X on the side that is basically the image that you pulled up off of the silicone sheet. Oh, I did want to show you really quick. This is just harder if you do it this way, but I did want to show you if you do not have a stamping platform, you can just stamp it onto a silicone mat. Then you can take this and you're going to lay it on there and push really hard and then carefully pull it up, and it will pull up the image that way as well. Now, the only reason I like using the Stamparatus is because I have the opposite image here that I can use with my die cuts to cut it out. Otherwise, you have to kind of hold this up to the light. It still works to place your die on there so that it will cut the die out. All right, back to what we were working on. I wanted to show you guys that before I forgot. And then I got to tell you a funny story about this. So obviously I'm using blends, right? And so I went to design this card the other day. And most of you know that I spend a good part of my month down in Albuquerque, which is 3 hours away, taking care of my mother. And so I have set up kind of a satellite studio down there. And I recently had all of my blends and everything up here. And I just took them back down there. And then when I went to design this card, I went to grab my soft sea foam blends, and they're not here. I must have taken both sets down to Albuquerque. So, but I want to show you, because it's just small, because these leaves are small, I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Right marker, and I am going to use that to color in my leaves. And it works great because I don't really need to have 2 colors blended here. And so just wanted to let you guys know that especially when you're coloring in small areas, if you don't have the blend that you're looking for, then grab a Stampin' Right marker and fill in the smaller areas. Because look how pretty that looks with the marker and the blends together. Very pretty. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to go fast here so that we are not, obviously I'm going to go past 7 o'clock because we got started so late because of my internet. But I am going to still try to get this done within the hour. I don't know if that will happen, except the next one is almost all done except for the putting together. So, but I really wanted to show you this mirroring technique. I think a lot of us have seen it before and done it before, and we knew how to do it. So how many of you on here have actually done the mirror technique before? I'm curious. How many of you have done that? I'm trying to color really super fast. Hopefully I can stay in the lines. You guys can see, like, like when I'm not doing this, like filming, when I'm designing for my cards, I actually slow it down and take my time and use my coloring time as kind of my zen time. So, but obviously when I'm doing it for you guys, I'm going super fast. So nobody here has done the that mirror technique. Well, that's kind of cool if I taught you guys something new. So again, we're bringing in the Stampin' Right marker because my soft sea foam blends are in Albuquerque. I'll be going down there next week, and I have a little note to self to grab the extra soft sea foam. And then one of the things you can do when you're coloring is, if you want any of this to be darker, after you've brought in the light, I just want to again show this to you guys. Since I'm having to color, I might as well. So a lot of times what I do is I just kind of do some dots, because it'll still, notice how it spreads out. So I'm not really having to blend because I already have the other, because we've got so much of the blending, the alcohol on there already with the blends. When you just do those dots, it actually will like fill in. It kind of like spreads out. Okay. So now, because this is my colored side, but remember I told you I wanted this stamped on this side so that it would be easy for me to cut these out. So hopefully I got these lined up right and it cuts out right. So now let's go over to the die cut machine and let's see if this works. So this was my colored side. Now I'm going to flip it over. That's why I stamped it on this side, because the die only fits it. It won't fit the mirror image. Does that make sense? It's only going to fit the correct image. But again, that's why I use the Stamparatus for that, because it should have lined everything up perfectly. We're going to find out in just a second. Oh. Okay, so let's see. So now when I flip this over, look at that. Can you guys, oh, let me get my, oops, that way. So see how by being able to use the platform, it gave me the outline on the opposite side. So I was able to line up the die, because we have to remember, if we're doing mirror images and we have punches or dies, whatever it is that we're cutting out, it's going to be the wrong way and it's not going to fit. So we have to have a stamped image on the side that's not colored to be able to cut this out with the die or a punch. I hope that is making sense to you guys. Sometimes these things are harder to explain than you think. All right, let me just lay that. All right, so now we're back over here. Oh, so you've mirrored with animals facing each other and it turned out okay. Yeah. But see, there's the mirror image. Now see, this one was a little bit off, right? But I think it's still going to be fine, because what I wanted these for is on our card. Where's my card? Okay. So on my card, the reason I needed these backwards is because I needed pieces that would match up perfectly on this back side, so that it looks nicer. Oh, let me get you guys moved out. There we go. So that was my whole reasoning behind this, is because I just couldn't like this piece sticking out. But now, because I did the mirror image, I have the back side to that piece. Plus it adds a little more for the inside of this card. So that was my whole purpose for doing this, just because I didn't like what it was doing. All right, so again, see how it fits perfectly? And then you can't see the back one from the front or the front from the back. So that's why I did this. Okay, so next we needed a piece that we're going to stamp the thanks so much. Let's get this card finished up a little bit. All right, and then, oh, I have that flower on there. Oopsie, I think it'll be fine. And then we're just gonna fussy cut around this. I'll tell you what, for someone who doesn't really like to fussy cut, I've been doing it a lot. Have you guys noticed that? I'm doing it a lot. I'm having you guys do it a lot in class. I literally, that mask that I used on that first card, I actually, the first one I did, the one I was seeing if it was going to work the way I wanted it to, I actually fussy cut it out. The second one I die cut, but then ended up fussy cutting all the smaller pieces out. So still fussy cut. Okay, so then this thanks is going to go on here. And then we're going to rev this card up a little bit. Okay, so first card was, we can kind of call it simple stamping because all we used was cardstock and ink and blends. I did bring some embellishments in, but that is kind of what we call, you know, simple stamping. Because we're just using cardstock. We didn't use designer series paper. Of course, I'm not using designer series paper for any of this today because this stamp set was so pretty. It really lent to having all of the accents on here. And then I had a piece of ribbon. Here it is. Okay, so then I want, this is the woven white ribbon. And I believe this is, now I can't remember, guys. I don't know if this is, I don't think it's a celebration thing, but I think it's a, it's in the mini catalog. Sorry, I get things mixed up. All right, and then all I want to do with this is kind of do a glue dot right in the middle there. If I can find my glue dots. Excuse my reach. So I'm just going to put a glue dot there, basically just to kind of hold this in place until I can, and I want to do this at an angle. And then I'm just going to bring this up here and we're going to glue this on here. And then we're going to add some really fun embellishments to jazz it up a little bit. All right, so there's the thanks. And I'm just gluing that down. And that's also why I felt I only needed one glue dot, because once this glues down with the liquid glue, it's going to hold that ribbon in place. Okay, so for this one, maybe, I'm actually using more embellishments that I normally use. But I'm actually going to come in, and these are the adhesive backed sparkle gems. I really like them. And so we're going to put, first we're going to do this corner down here. And I have some that had kind of come off there. And I added glue dots to the bottom. So I've got, our glue dots are bigger than these little ones. So I've got to fold those in a little bit. Actually, I think I'll use that one there. It'll look better there. Maybe. All right, so there's that. And, oh, we need one more. I need one more down here. Okay, and now I just need my little embellishments in these flowers. And I'm only going to put them on the flowers in the front. One, because the ones on the inside, might, you know, put dents in the card. So I'm going to grab a big one for this inside one right there, and then another little one for down here. All right, so what do you guys think? How pretty does that look with those glimmer embellishments in it? Can you guys see that? So thanks so much. But isn't this a fun one with that window? Okay, so this is considered, you know, a step-up card, a more avid card, because we put, you know, the details in there. We added some die cuts. We added some ribbon. And we did kind of a different little cut on the front of this. But hopefully you like this idea as well. Super cute. All right, and so the last card is pretty much going to just be me putting this together, because and those of you that came to my card class, you guys did this card. So this is one that I designed for my card class this last week. So some of you have seen this card. But again, I'm just trying to point out to you how you can keep adding layers if you're a layer person. If you don't like the layers, you don't have to do it. But even with the layers, notice how much stamping I'm doing with this. So don't forget that you can stamp. Okay, so for this one, I think I want it this way. So I went ahead and I stamped those flowers all the way around the edge, and it's just this one right here. And then I colored it in. And then we're just going to add this to the card front. And again, this is layering, okay? But it's layering it along with the coloring. So I want you guys to realize that even if you don't buy the bundle, even if you don't buy if it has designer series paper, I mean, I think this is beautiful, designing our own designer series paper in the background, okay? Don't forget how powerful our stamps can be, because I think we sometimes forget that. And then this was basically all I did was use, so the die you saw me use in that second one without the detailed die, that's what this die just cuts this out. And so we're going to pop this up. So let me grab my dimensionals. And again, I know some of you did this card already, but again, I'm trying to show everybody who wasn't at the card class how by just stamping, we can make beautiful backgrounds. And then we can add, so let's say you don't have this die set. Well, what else could you use? Do you have a label punch that you could punch kind of a big label? Do you have a circle die? You know, do you have a plate that you can draw, you know, or something like this? Wait, let's do this. Do you have ribbon that you can lay down and draw around it and then cut out a circle? Okay, so realize that just because you may not have everything that I am sitting here with, you can still make a card. If you don't have this stamp set, get a stamp set with flowers. Grab one of your stamp sets that has flowers and let's make this card or a card similar to it. Okay, and then I went ahead and stamped, colored, and die cut this out. And again, guys, any flower set that you have is going to work for this particular layout. I want you guys to think about when you watch me make cards, consider these your sketches. And then just follow along with what you have. Because the main thing is getting your cards, you know, card bases. Because let's say your flower with the stems is not this big. So then you're going to want a smaller label, right? And then I'm doing mine a little bit different. I went ahead and stamped the sentiment on the same piece that I cut the flower out of. And I'm going to fussy cut this out so that we can make this card. But I hope, the other thing I hope you guys are seeing is all the different colors of blends that I've been using with these flowers. Because I've used Balmy Blue and Azure Afternoon. I've used Daffodil Delight. I've used Highland Heather. And this is Bubble Bath and Mossy Meadow. So, again, you know, just think of all the different colors that you can make out of one flower. And then I'm just going to fussy cut around this one. In the class, they actually cut out another, from another set, but I'm just going to fussy cut this out because I'm trying to show you guys how, even with fussy cutting, even if you don't have label dies, you can still make cool cards just by fussy cutting and then putting it on a piece of cardstock and making this the mat, but then you're going to fussy cut the mat as well. Or you could keep the mat. I didn't have to fussy cut around that. I could have left it how it was. All right, and then this is going to just sit right there on top of that flower. And remember, it's okay to case other people's cards. And casing just means you're copying what they did. And, you know, and even if at the beginning you case it exactly, you're still going to, you know, just like I've already changed this, the way this label looks compared to the card we did in the card class. Sometimes casing is following this exact layout, except change the colors. So I'm going to pull, this is our 2024-2026 in Shimmer in Color Gems. And so we're going to pull a few of these and we're going to stick these on the front of this. And then I've already done the inside of this, designed it and colored it. And again, guys, I do want you guys to work with me, but I do try to keep this to an hour. And so sometimes I do have to do things ahead of time, but just remember that you can like follow along with me, get as much as you can done that I'm doing. And then let's say like you could do the stamping and then maybe go back and do the coloring later. And you can do the replay with that. All right. Okay, so there is the third card. And so I know some of you made this, but see, it's a little bit different because I didn't use the banner, right? But it's just, look how pretty that is with just stamping. Just stamping. So let's bring them all back in. I mean, yes, I use the dies. So here's that with the dies. Here's using the dies. And then, where did I shove it? And this one was literally, our first one was literally just stamping. Just stamping. And then look how, just by changing the color of the cardstock and the color of the blends that you use, it changes the whole look of the entire card. It makes the card look completely different than, and even the flowers. It makes these flowers look different, right? Because if you look at this, because I added this extra leaf, it looks like a different flower, but it's the same set, same flower. Okay, and yeah, these look a little closer to that, but kind of because I added the embellishments in this one, it makes these flowers look different. So don't feel like just because you may only have like one flower stamp set that you can't make a lot of different designs with those cards, because you absolutely can. All right. So again, I'm just going to show you, this was the bundle that I used. Remember, if you do place a $40 order with me between now and next Wednesday, I will send you the card, like all the pieces. Now the stamping you're going to have to do on your own. Hopefully you'll just get that set. Then you can stamp it and make these cards. But I will, anything that I cut out ahead of time is going to be sent to you. So like the opening for the one, so yeah. So anyway, that's how you get the card kit sent to you. And just really quick, that's where you would go to place an order, is juliebrown.stampinup.net. There's the hostess code, and this is our last month for hostess codes. So there's the hostess code. And so you can if your order is going to be under 150, use that hostess code. If not, don't, because you get the rewards for that. And don't forget, 9 more days for celebration. And I have that. Oh, and what celebration is, folks, is if you make that purchase, you get to pick things from this book. And let me set it down here so I can quickly go through it. So you can get stamp sets for free. You can get paper for free. You can get card kits for free with a $60 order. Look at I just did the Friendly Seagulls. I did some cards with that. Super cute set. You can get an embossing folder for free with a $60 order. So any of this stuff in here you can pick for free. Plus they've updated, so there's actually more stuff available that you can get for free. The other thing I think they have is the hostess in here. Because if you do want to join, okay, yeah, so here we go. So option 1 is you can choose 2 marker sets, the Stampin' Right markers, plus you're going to get this card, plus for $99, you're going to get $125 worth of products, along with the 2 marker sets and the stamp set. Option 2 is for $99, you're going to get $155 of product that you get to pick for yourself for free. So again, you can still go to that juliebrown.stampinup.net to join, or to place an order. So, you know, if you're going to order, now's the time to do it, because 9 days left, because you get free stuff. If you join, you get a lot of extras. So this is January and February celebration is one of the best times to join. One of the best times to buy. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I really do appreciate it. For those of you that were patient with me getting online, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, sometimes you know what, guys, sometimes the electrical stuff or the IT, the internet stuff just doesn't want to work the way that we want it to. And so I just kept trying, and finally it popped up and said, okay, you can go live now. And like, I had been working on it since 5:45, and it took me until I finally got on at 6:15. So anyway, guys, have a great week. I will see some of you tomorrow at my Little Golden Book Junk Journal class. That is tomorrow for those of you that are signed up for that class. And we are going to be, if you guys are interested in doing the junk journal class, the Little Golden Book Junk Journal class, let me know, because next month I'm going to be sending out the sign-ups to sign up in April. It's a 3-month class. We meet once a month, and we can do it online or in person. And I supply you almost everything that you need. You're still going to need some of your basic supplies, but I will supply you with almost everything that you need to do that. But if it's something that you might be interested in, let me know, and I'll send you the link to get registered for that, because you do need to get registered in March so I can get everything ordered and here in time, and get it sent to you before we start our class in April. I also have a monthly junk journal club, and with that one, we make a lot of really fun ephemera and stuff for junk journals. And again, I supply all of the stuff for that too. So if you're interested in any of those, or if you're interested in online classes, just let me know, and I will reach out to you and get you the information. So everybody have a good night, have a good evening, and thank you for being so patient, because, internet, oh, I'm telling you guys, electronics is great, but when it doesn't work, it's not so great. So everybody have a good evening, and